Have you ever found yourself in situations like this? When things don't go your way, you immediately think, because my boss is too strict, because my parents don't understand, because life is unfair, or worse, I'm just not good enough. I guess I was born to fail. If you've ever had such thoughts, and I'm guessing many of us have, you're not alone. But there is a truth that takes courage to look at. It is our weak minds that cause us to repeat that cycle of blame. Over and over again. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Having a weak mind is nothing to be ashamed of. It is simply a state where you let your emotions guide your actions instead of your reason. It's when you live in a passive state, as if everything that happens is out there, and there's nothing you can do but endure. You feel trapped, you feel out of control, and you start blaming on circumstances, on others, on yourself, as a mechanism to escape the feeling of helplessness. But the truth is, the more you blame, the weaker you become. Blank. Underscore. Blank. So the big question is, why does the weak mind always look for blame? And more importantly, how do you identify and break free from that passive mindset? To build a strong mind, calm, clear, and able to master yourself? In this video, I want to take you on a journey. We will dissect every hidden corner of the weak mind. The deep reason why people often blame instead of take responsibility. And most importantly, you will learn how to transform your passive lifestyle into a proactive mindset, so that you are no longer a victim in your life story, but become a creator. Blank. Underscore. Blank. I know, you're probably tired of all the preaching, but stay. Because this isn't just theory. It's something I asked myself when my life hit rock bottom. I don't share with you anything that I haven't faced myself. And I believe, only when we stop and be honest with ourselves, can we move on to a new chapter. Ready? Let me begin. Try to recall a moment when you failed, maybe an unsuccessful interview, a broken relationship, or simply a bad morning where everything went wrong. The question is, what is your first reaction? Do you tell yourself, they are unfair, I am not getting help, or I am just not good enough? If so, you're not alone. But you've also just seen one of the most obvious signs of a weak mind: defensive blaming. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Blaming is a natural response. It helps us feel less bad in the moment. It makes us believe that we're not entirely to blame, and that the pain was caused by someone or something else. What is the problem? The problem is that the weak mind uses the blame mechanism as a cover, a way to avoid the truth. We are not in control of ourselves. And every time we do that, whether consciously or unconsciously, we are stealing away our inner power. Blank. Underscore. Blank. I used to be that person. In the first year of starting my business, everything kept falling apart. I blamed the market, my partners, and fate. But the more I blamed, the more helpless I felt. And then one day, I realized I no longer controlled anything, not even my own thoughts. It was then that I understood, a weak mind is not the enemy, it is just a misguided defense mechanism. It says, I can't take any more pain. But the truth is, we cannot grow if we live under that false protection. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And the most dangerous thing? This defense mechanism is very quiet. It doesn't come with a scream. It comes with little words in your head. Never mind. It doesn't change anything. People are luckier than us. I guess this isn't for me. Those whispers may seem harmless, but if you believe them for too long, you will lose your ability to move on. Blank. Underscore. Blank. So, if you find yourself constantly blaming or avoiding responsibility, don't be so quick to blame yourself. Take it as a warning that it's time for me to retrain my mind. Because a strong mind is not a mind that never falls. It's the mind that knows how to fall and still chooses to get back up without having to blame anyone. Do you ever feel like you're just waiting? Waiting for a better job. Waiting for someone to understand you. Waiting for a more suitable opportunity to start. But the strange thing is, the longer you wait, the more nothing seems to change. And you don't understand why. That is one of the most obvious manifestations of passive thinking, a silent but very dangerous type of thinking. Not loud, not overtly negative, but it creeps in little by little into how you live, how you think, and most importantly, how you act or don't act. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Passive thinking makes you believe that I have no control over anything. Everything is determined by circumstances. And so you live as an observer of your life instead of a creator. I used to work with a friend. Very smart, very potential, but every time he got into trouble, he would say, I was born without relationships. I am not as good at speaking as other people. I just need to wait for a more suitable time. 3 years later, he was still in the same position. Not because he was incompetent, but because he let his passive mindset define his own abilities. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Did you know that passive thinking often stems from false beliefs? Such as, success is a matter of luck. I guess I'm not cut out for that. As long as other people change, I'll be fine. These beliefs may sound harmless, but they secretly take away the most precious thing you have, the power to control your life. Blank. Underscore. Blank. What are the consequences? You lose your energy. You get caught up in other people's opinions. And when someone criticizes you, you get more hurt, more angry, because you don't feel strong enough to stand up for yourself. Passive thinking doesn't just weaken you, it makes you dependent. Dependent on others to feel good enough. Dependent on conditions to feel ready enough. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And the thing to remember is, no one is born proactive. Passive thinking is something we learn over time. And what we learn can also be unlearned and replaced. It all started with one simple question. What am I waiting for to start really living? Remember, waiting doesn't make you stronger. Only taking action, even when you're not ready, will help you build a resilient and self-reliant mind. There is a question that I believe every one of us should ask ourselves at least once in our lives. If I were solely responsible for the results of my life, what would I do differently today? That question is the foundation of something powerful, proactive thinking. Blank. Underscore. Blank. While passive thinking makes you feel like a victim, proactive thinking helps you realize you can't control everything that happens. But you can always control how you react. Sounds simple, but practicing requires courage. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Proactive thinking is not about positive cheering, or denying reality. It doesn't tell you to pretend everything is okay. It teaches you something much deeper. I take responsibility for my life, even when things don't go the way I want them to. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Imagine. You've just been rejected from a dream job opportunity. The passive person will say, "I am unlucky. They are not fair." The proactive person will ask himself, "Am I prepared enough? What can I improve next time? Are there other opportunities I'm missing?" Same situation. Two different mindsets produce two completely opposite results. Blank. Underscore. Blank. People with proactive thinking often have three clear characteristics. 1. No blame. They don't spend time blaming others or complaining. They spend time finding solutions. 2. Always ask, "What can I do next?" Instead of being paralyzed by difficulty, they move, even if it's just a small step. They move forward. 3. Know how to accept the truth. They are not afraid of failure, because they understand every mistake contains a lesson if we are willing to listen. Blank. Underscore. Blank. I remember a friend of mine once said, "What does it mean to be proactive? I can't change the world." I replied, "Nobody is asking you to change the world. But you can change the way you approach your day, the way you talk to yourself, the way you don't give up after the first failure. And that alone is a game changer." Blank. Underscore. Blank. Proactive thinking does not protect you from adversity, but it makes you a stronger person after every adversity. And you know what the best thing is? You can start cultivating that mindset today. Just one small choice, one refusal to blame, one acceptance of responsibility, one action, even when afraid, because each time you do, you are rebuilding your true strength from within. If you've ever wondered, "How do I know if I have a strong or weak mind?" Well, the answer isn't in how many books you read, how many podcasts you listen to, or how many personal development channels you follow. It's how you react when life gets tough. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Weak mind and strong mind, they may seem like two extremes, but they are actually just two choices you have every day. When you fail, will you choose to blame or choose to look back at yourself? When you get rejected, do you back down and tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," or do you get up and keep trying? When someone criticizes you, do you react as if you were offended, or do you stop and ask yourself, "Is there anything I can improve on?" Blank. Underscore. Blank. Let me share with you the clear difference between a weak mind and a strong mind. And in the process, I invite you to be honest with yourself. Pushpin weak minds often react emotionally, impulsive, vulnerable, and prone to blame. Pushpin strong minds learn to respond rationally, calmly, purposefully, and unafraid to face the truth. Blank. Underscore. Blank. When faced with failure, the weak mind blames circumstances, because of other people, because of bad luck, because of. The strong mind looks within. What did I learn from this time? When feeling hurt, the weak mind collapses, withdraws, or reacts violently. A strong mind acknowledges pain, but doesn't let it define it. When living in a negative environment, weak minds are swept away by public opinion and easily swayed. A strong mind retains core values. knowing how to select what is worthy of influencing it. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And the special thing is, a strong mind is not someone who is always resilient. They also trembled, wanted to give up, and cried silently in the middle of the night. The difference is, they don't allow weakness to persist. They don't let their mind be led astray by emotions. But on the contrary, they train it every day. Blank. Underscore. Blank. So the question for you today is, which mind are you nurturing? Are you reacting out of old habits, or are you building new responses from awareness? Don't wait for life to force you to change. Be intentional about choosing to develop a strong mind, because that's where all lasting change begins. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you are sitting in the car of your life. But you are not driving. You are in the back seat. Out there, life is rushing by. Work, people, circumstances, they are all steering for you. Have you ever felt like that? Feel like you're living reactively, rather than intentionally? Blank. Underscore. Blank. If you've ever been in that situation, it's time to hear this. No one is coming to save you. It sounds cold, but it's a valuable truth. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Passive thinking is always waiting. Checkmark wait for others to acknowledge. Checkmark wait for sufficient conditions to start. Checkmark wait until you feel ready. But the thing is, life doesn't wait for you. Opportunity doesn't wait for you. This world doesn't operate according to your perfect preparation. And if you keep waiting, you'll fall behind. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Moving from a passive to an active mindset is not an add-on option for the strong person. It is a must if you really want to live life to the fullest. Why? Because being proactive is the only way you can take back control of your life. When you're proactive, you're no longer in the back seat. You're in the driver's seat. You can't control the weather, but you can control how you drive. And the great thing is, proactive thinking doesn't require you to have all the answers. It just requires you to ask the right questions. What am I in control of? What can I change today? You may not be able to change jobs right away. Can't change a bad boss, or things that happened in the past. But you can change how you react. You can choose to respond instead of react. And sometimes, just that one small choice is enough to rewrite the whole chapter of your life. Blank. Underscore. Blank. I once met a single mother, living under all kinds of pressure. Debt, small children, unstable job, but she firmly told me, I don't have time to blame anyone. I only have time to find a better way to live. It's proactive thinking in challenging circumstances. And if she can do it, so can you. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Moving from passive to active is the first step to inner freedom. It's when you no longer let other people dictate how you live, think, or feel. You are not a victim of the world. You are the creator. There are moments in life when we don't need any more advice. What we need is a question strong enough to awaken. A timely question can open up a whole new dimension of thinking. It doesn't try to change you. It helps you look back at yourself clearer, more honest, and more responsible. Blank. Underscore. Blank. I want to share with you 7 questions. These are not questions for you to answer for the sake of it. Here are 7 mirrors that you must be brave enough to look into. Question 1. Who or what am I blaming? Sounds simple, but be honest. Are you blaming your boss, your spouse, your parents, society, or even yourself in a self-inflicted way? Blaming doesn't solve problems. It only prolongs the feeling of helplessness. Only when you stop blaming can you begin to change. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Second question. What can I control right now? When life gets chaotic, the only thing that keeps you from getting swept away is look back at what you can still control. You may not be able to change other people, but you can choose how you think. You can choose to take action instead of wallowing in worry. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Question 3. What have I not done and am afraid to do? Procrastination doesn't come from laziness. It often comes from fear. What are you afraid of? Rejection? Judgment? Failure? But you know what's scarier? You never know how strong you can be, just because you don't dare to start. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Question 4. Am I reacting or choosing to react? Between event and response, there is always a gap. A weak mind reacts emotionally. A strong mind chooses to respond with awareness. Are you using that space? Blank. Underscore. Blank. Question 5. Am I trying to change others or myself? We often want the world to change so we can feel better. But the truth is, when you change the way you look, the world changes. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Question 6. If I am not a victim, then who am I? This question is so powerful that it can change your entire perspective on life. If you no longer carry the identity of a victim, you will live as a person with choices. You will stand up. You will act. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And finally, if I took 100% responsibility, what would I do differently? Not 50%, not 80%, but 100%. When you take full responsibility, you also take back full control. At that point, you're not just living the story, you're writing it. Blank. Underscore. Blank. These are more than just 7 questions to ponder. Here are the 7 turns. And you can choose which way to go, starting today. I want to tell you this from personal experience, not from books. A strong mind is not something you are born with. It is something you must forge through every choice, every habit, and sometimes through every pain. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Some people think that just by reading a few books and listening to a few motivational videos, they will become awakened and instantly strong. But the truth is the opposite. A strong mind is not born of comfort. It grows from facing the truth that you have been avoiding. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Where does the journey to a strong mind begin? Bullseye. The first step is to recognize the weak mind within yourself. Not to criticize myself, but to look straight into the dark corners. How do you blame? What do you usually avoid? How do you react when you are hurt? Change cannot come if you deny that the problem lies within yourself. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Bullseye. The second step is to change from the smallest thoughts. Every time you are about to say something like, I can't because, please pause and ask yourself again, what am I in control of right now? There is no need to reform your entire life overnight. Just one different thought, one different reaction, one small action, every day. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Bullseye. The third step is inner discipline. The mind cannot be strong unless you exercise it like a muscle. Meditate for 5 minutes every morning. Keep a journal of the proactive choices you made during the day. Turn off your phone for 30 minutes every night to have a real conversation with yourself. No one will see you do these things, but you will see a change, little by little, in the way you approach life. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And you know what? There is no final destination to this journey. A strong mind is not a state you achieve. It's how you live every day. You will still have your moments of weakness, but the difference is, you get up faster. You no longer run away. You no longer blame. You choose to look straight. You choose to face. And from there, you build up your inner strength as solid as a rock. Blank. Underscore. Blank. If you're starting from scratch, that's okay. It's you begin, and you start from within. Because you can't control the whole world, but you can always control yourself. And sometimes, that's all it takes to change everything. We have been on a journey, not an easy one, because it's not about the world out there, it's about the hardest thing to change, the mind inside you. Blank. Underscore. Blank. I know, living with a passive mindset, much easier. Blame, much easier. You can blame your parents, your ex, your boss, the economy, even the weather, and you'll feel temporarily relieved. But only for a moment. Because then you fall into the familiar cycle. Helplessness, procrastination, and then disappointment in yourself. Blank. Underscore. Blank. The truth is, blame is the easy road, but it always leads to weakness. On the contrary, taking responsibility is more difficult. You have to face yourself. Admit, my life is the way it is, because of the choices I have, or have not, made. Sounds bitter, right? But that's the beginning of freedom. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Because when you take responsibility, you are no longer a victim. You are the driver. You can choose to think differently. You can choose to act differently. You can rewrite the story of your life, starting from today. Blank. Underscore. Blank. I want to leave you with a quote from Stoic philosophy, one that has changed the way I live. If you want to change the world outside, start by stopping blaming and rebuilding the world inside yourself. You don't have to wait for someone else to change. No need to wait until circumstances are perfect. Because everything you need is already in your hands. Blank. Underscore. Blank. You can choose. Choose to continue blaming, living in repetition, waiting, and doubting yourself. Or, you can choose to take responsibility, even if it's just 1% every day. But that 1% will change your life. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And if you choose the difficult path, the path of inner strength, of maturity, of truth, then remember, you do not go alone. There are millions of people out there, just like you, learning to master their minds, overcome old ways of thinking, and build lives that are true to their values. Blank. Underscore. Blank. You can start over. Start living with a proactive mindset. Start stopping blaming, and start taking charge of your life. Because you deserve it, And because you always have a choice. With so many videos scrolling by every day, it's hard for anyone to stop. But if you're here, I believe it's no coincidence. Something in your energy resonated with this message. And that's why you're here right now, not early, not late, just right. This video is not a noodle, motivational talk. It is part of a very real journey, shaped over years of stumbling, reflecting, and overcoming the deep curves of life. What you are about to hear is not cut and pasted from a philosophy book. Nor is it embellished to attract views. It is the raw truth, but also the seeds of deep spirituality. If you are willing to listen, I know, content like this won't be popular. Because it's not trendy. It requires mindfulness. It requires you to turn off the noise outside and go inside. If you've listened to this far, I urge you to take the time to watch until the end. Maybe just one sentence, one moment, will become a turning point in your journey of inner growth, as it did for me. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not promising that you'll change in a matter of minutes. But I do know this. If you listen carefully, with an open heart and a steady mind, over the coming months, you'll feel a new energy growing inside you. A much stronger, clearer, more proactive version of yourself will begin to emerge. And if anything in this video touched you, let me know. Like to connect, subscribe to go further together. Because this is more than a video, it's a journey. And you are a part of it.